Hey everyone, in this video I have Seth here because I'm back in Alliance, and so we're going to talk a little bit about what we did today at our university today. So we'll talk about what he did today, what he's been up to, and also what I did today, and we'll have some clips overlaying from it. And so yeah, let's get right into this video. Alright, so the first part we're going to talk about what Seth did today, so I'll let Seth talk about what lifts and what his focuses were for this workout.
Alright, so today was a heavy bench day, so I was working up to 4 singles at 290. I ended up doing the first one at 290. It moved slow, so I dropped down to 285, and it moved really fast. So I'm back up to 290 and hit 3 more singles. I don't think we videoed that. And then I dropped back down, did some dynamic bench at 250, which was a lot heavier than I usually do it. But I wanted to try that because my weights are getting a little heavier instead of just doing 225, which probably wouldn't have the carryover. So I did that. I think I did doubles on all those except the last one. I think I did 3.
Yeah. And what have been some of, before you talk about, because the other thing you did were snatches, and you did some glute hammer as well, but what have been some of your focuses with the bench? I know we talked a little bit about it, but some things that I guess you said you want to work out it more later, but what have been some of your goals with it?
My goal is obviously to hit 300 because that'd be a big milestone. Everybody wants to get 3 plates, so 315 eventually. But trying to hit 300 whenever I max out here in like a week or so, which I think is very doable.
What about with your mechanics? I know that's we talked about
mechanics wise, right now I'm not too worried about it, obviously for this one, but after this max session, I'm probably going to try to tear my mechanics apart and try. I have really bad elbow flare from the get-go, so I'm probably going to try to work on tucking my elbows and keeping them closer, maybe move my grip in a little bit because I get a lot better speed off my chest that way. It's just then once I get to the transition to like the triceps, it gets tougher. So I think I'm going to try to work on that in the future. But
and
right now,
did you say also touching a bit lower? You say you tend. Yeah. Especially because I noticed that when I was spotting him today, is that the transitions in between reps, he would touch fine on the first one, and then it would get progressively higher. So that's something to work on. But it's one of those things you don't want to mess with it too much when you're about to max out. But it's always good to be aware of that because there's always mechanical things to improve on.
Right.
Because mechanics will never be perfect, and bench for both of us has been one of those things where it's hard to progress in because we're built differently, but we have similar strengths with the deadlifts. We're really good at deadlifts, and then squats and bench are just kind of what we can get from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so so talk about your snatches. I almost forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you hit a PR today.
Yeah. Whatever that's worth. It's only my second time snatching in like probably a couple months. We used to do like a lot of like hang cleans and stuff whenever I played football and stuff in high school, but I never really learned like the proper form for snatch. So I've been watching a lot of Maddie Rogers. And
Natty Cakes.
Natty Cakes, shout out. But I've been watching a lot of like her videos and things like that and trying to pick up little cues and learn how to snatch correctly instead of just power snatching. So
and why do you catch, I know, but why do you catch the weights on the way down instead of just dropping it? Explain that to our audience, because that is it is the most aggravating thing that we can't do.
Where we go to school at, they like lose their dang minds if you drop the weight. So it doesn't matter if it's deadlift or anything. So you'll see I have like mats underneath it, and like I couldn't just like drop it. I dropped on my PR a little bit, but that's because I was like, I'm about to leave anyhow. So if I get kicked out, oh well. But
that's a big pain with that.
Oh, it is a pain.
And so you
especially because then you're kind of like, it's in your head. You're like, well, if I fail it, like what do I do? Because I don't want to slam the weights and get yelled at. But
you said he hit 180 today.
I hit 180.
And then you failed 185 a couple of times.
I failed I had 190
or
on there.
It was one. Oh yeah, because you had the 2.5.
And I dropped it down to 185 and failed it. But every time I was able to get it above my head, and it was just really my elbows, locking my elbows and catching it far enough behind me. So just little technical things, which I was really happy with that because it wasn't a lack of strength; it was a lack of technique.
And I think we talked about if you didn't do the bench stuff before that, you might have been able to lock those out a little bit more.
Yeah,
but
my elbows were pretty tired; they were failing me.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but it was still a PR.
I'll take 15 pounds.
Yeah, 15 pounds more than what I did because going in today we had the same PR in snatches, which we're both just slightly above it. Well, I guess. Pretty darn average at snatches with that, but that's what he was up to today. So we can talk about in the next part. We'll talk about some of what he's planning to do in the future. We talked about a little bit in this part, but we'll move on to that in the next part. And so what I'm curious now, and one of the things I like when we get and hang out, is figuring out what he wants to do in the future, because our goals are always changing. And he mentioned in the last clip that we talked about a little bit what he wants to do as far as benching stuff, but more generally, what are you trying to look to do as far as powerlifting with totals and also with meets and whatnot?
Right. Well, I have like my totals written on a board back here in my room. You can't really see what they are, but my goal total's like 1320.
Yeah.
So I'm like 75 pounds off of that right now. So if I hit that, then that would put me with pretty close to a good enough Wilks score if I keep about the same body weight to qualify for the Arnold.
Yeah, and I think that's a goal that we both have, is to be able to get to the Arnold with that.
Yeah,
and what's
within the next couple years.
What body weight are you trying to qualify at for that?
165, 163, whatever it technically is.
Yeah, because it's in kilograms, so nobody.
So I think it's like 165 about, give or take a pound or two.
And I know I did 181 before, but I'm not going that low again. But with that, so you're gonna try to stay that low.
Yeah. Right now I walk around between 165, 172. Depends on if I'm on like creatine or anything.
Isn't too big of a cut for you to have to worry about with that. So that should be exciting. So maybe if you're all lucky, we get to see us both at the Arnold. Would be next year if we can get lucky and get to that. But we're still quite a ways away. You're not trying to do any of that this year, are you?
It's already past time to qualify.
Okay, so that's what I thought. So, but with another full year under our belts, we can get to that point.
And that goes back to how we were talking about fixing my bench.
Yeah,
like that's why I want to break it down during the summer, because I want to hit a meet this spring and kind of see like where I'm at. I know where my totals are at in the gym, but once I can get into kilograms and get even more precise, plus the atmosphere and all these different factors, it's a little bit different in meet than it would be in like a mock meet in your gym. I'm excited to get back on the platform here in the spring.
When in the spring are you looking for? Are you looking to do the same one that we did last year, the one that was in April or whatever?
Yeah, probably something around then, because I want to do something right after winter, because I want to kind of like have a little bit more
spend some time to train. And I'm in the same boat with that. I'm looking to one down.
I have like total, like I have like a total that I want to hit. Like once I want to hit a 13-pound total in the gym before I attempt anything. Yeah. So right now I'm at like 1245. I'm gonna max here in like 2 weeks. Hopefully get that closer to like 1260, and then kind of just keep progressing going for about 10-15 pounds each training cycle until I get there.
Exciting with that.
Yeah.
And also, we talked a little bit, but are you going to try to start doing a YouTube? Because I know you're finishing your student teacher right now, because we're both teachers. But you're going to try to start doing a YouTube page?
Yeah, I want to make a YouTube channel eventually. Like, I technically already have one, but I don't post any like content to it really. I usually use like Instagram and stuff because it's real quick. I can just post a video from my phone of a PR or something that went well that day. But in the future I would like to do that.
And I'll put his channel down below, and I'll harass him about posting stuff, because I like when my friends start posting YouTube stuff, because we can collab like we are now, so it can be interesting.
Collabing is fun. That's what I look forward to. Like, I mean, I really wasn't anticipating hitting that big of a Snatch PR, if a PR at all on Snatch. And it came in and hit a 15-pound PR because I had him to like give me little pointers, and you get a camera on you, it's a little bit easier to go a little harder. A little extra pressure with that, but hopefully he can get that going, and I'll get on him about that, especially once his student teaching done. So maybe over winter break, that'll be when you can start doing with that, and I can give him tips about editing stuff. Even though I'm not a pro at it, I can cut beginning and the end of videos. So I've seen a lot worse YouTube channels.
I could be a lot worse, so you can all keep that in mind with that. Yeah. But with that, we can talk a little bit about what I did and kind of wrap up the video in the next part. So when I went in today, I wasn't really planning on doing anything. When I went in, I wanted to do a little bit of bench. I didn't really have a plan, because I lift. Yeah, I just go to the gym and try to lift heavy weights.
Whatever comes to me.
But I was watching a video, and if I remember the guy's name, I'll put a link down below. And some of you might subscribe to him. I think he has under 10,000 or under 10,000. He has like 9,000 something. But what he talked about, what he does with his benching, he does strongman stuff, and he will bench and then do bent over rows in between. So he'll superset them when he benches. Does the same weight, same reps with both of them. And so today, since I didn't really have a really for sure day that I wanted to do a certain amount of reps or anything, I thought that I would try to do the same reps that I did yesterday when I went to work out in the morning, and then try to add rows in there to see how that would affect how my shoulder felt. And I gotta say that it went really well. Yesterday, when I benched, I went up to 265 for 3 sets of 2, and then I dropped down and did 235 for like a set of 5, but that wasn't too bad. But today, when I worked up to that 265 again, I did my first set, and it could have been because I had a spot there, which having a spot always does help, because I'm not afraid to try that extra rep and get stuck, because I have someone to help with that. But I did 3 sets of 4 with each of them, and really it wasn't until the last rep of the last set where I started to grind a little bit, and it still moved well. And in between every one of those, and you'll see this in this video, is I did rows in between, and they you can kind of Yates rows, kind of. They weren't true bent over rows, but
I'd seen George Lehman do something real similar to that for a deadlift assistance move.
Yeah.
So.
And the reason for doing kind of the Yates row variation, the George Lehman variation of the rows, is that it takes a lot off my lower back, and it allows me to do the same weight that I would with bench. So I can kind of cheat and do that. But it really helps. Like, my shoulder right now feels wonderful, and like while I was benching, my shoulder felt pretty much fine, a lot better than it did the previous day. So I don't know if it's something I'll do every time I do bench, but it's something I definitely want to mess around with more. And I know I mentioned that to Seth, and it's something that he wanted to play around with it.
I usually have 2 bench days a week, so I might try to do it on like at least one of them.
Yeah, and it was really surprising. It's something I recommend trying because it didn't affect any. I mean, I did more reps than I did the previous day, and it didn't affect any of my fatigue with it, and I wasn't tired in between. So it was really odd because it's counterintuitive. You think it would doing more in between would kind of mess with you, but it really didn't. But then I also moved the squats, and I was trying to be very cautious with that. Because my hip flexor thing was feeling bad. So I went up to 315. I was working on it in between sets. It still kind of was just hurt. But I ended up doing, it was 6 sets of 2 at 315. And it started to kind of loosen up, but it felt good enough to where I wanted to try doing a double at a heavier weight. And I think I did end up being a single. But I went up to 345 for a double. And then I did 385 for a single. And I actually dropped back down. And I did one more set at 315, but with low bar. So I'll be sure to post that or have that included in this video just because I want to start doing that a little bit more because I will transition to that if I do a meet. That's really all I did today. I did some back extensions, you did some glute ham raises. I don't know if I'll include that in this video because they're just they're just assistance work. But tomorrow for Thanksgiving I plan on doing arms, and maybe I'll have my brother in that video. I'm not sure with that. But like I said, I'll put Seth's stuff down below, his Instagram and whatnot. And you said he posts a lot more consistently on Instagram, so you can see a lot of that stuff. And your profile's public and everything with that. So there's
it's not, but I mean I pretty much accept everybody.
All right, so he'll accept you if you try to follow him. He's a pretty accepting person, which is good. But I'll post his stuff down below, and I'll harass him about starting YouTube, so we have all of that. And yeah, so that's really about it. So if you made it this far, you're the real MVP. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.
Check out my label, dog.